My good people, my good people. Hello, world. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the show that's hot with your boy Rob Scott. This is Rob's 2 cents, baby. What's going on, everybody? So glad to be back with you. We had an awesome weekend of sports. We had the All-Star game. What a marvelous game it was. Maybe not some of the festivities that's associated with the All-Star game were up to par, but it was a great game, celebrating 75 years in the NBA. Getting to see the top 75 come out there and get receive their flowers, and to hear the accolades of some of these guys were amazing to hear. um, Also, gonna get you guys updated with what's going on with the Brian Flores situation and Jawan Howard. What were you thinking, my guy? I understand you from Chicago, but sometimes you gotta chill. But we're gonna get into all of that and a lot more on today's episode. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the hottest sports conversation in the nation. This is Rob's 2 cents, baby, and let's jump right into the thick of things because as I mentioned, we just celebrated the All-Star weekend in the NBA. God, I wish I was there. That's something on my bucket list. For whoever wants to, sponsor me in the future, I am not a proud person. I will not say no to those tickets if you're going to be treating me to the weekend. Hopefully one day I can get press passes to the event. But what a great weekend it was. Of course, we saw the celebrity game Friday evening. We saw the Rising Stars game. And that game was pretty interesting. I like the new format that they had, where you have four legends. I believe Rick Barry was one, Gary Payton, Isaiah Thomas, and I can't remember the other guy. Apologies for the siren, something I can't control. But it was definitely interesting to watch the Rising Stars game. I enjoyed myself watching that event. It definitely put a nice spin on things. So pretty much each captain picked out. They picked out, like, out of the guys that made it to the Rising Star game. They picked, each person was able to pick a team. So I think there was like a team of six. On each team, you got your starters and maybe one or two bench players, so maybe a team of 6 or 7. But it was nice. Okay, so here we go. We had Team Rick Barry versus Team Isaiah Thomas versus Team James Worthy versus Team Gary Payton. And it was great to see. With this format, I believe, you got to see more players that you wouldn't normally see. So according to this, it looks like each team had about 7 guys. Team Payton, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Team Payton had 9 guys, but for the most part, everybody else had 7 guys. So basically how it go, each team competed with the ball. They competed. So up first, you had Team Isaiah versus Team Worthy. They had a set score of 50 to reach. So Team Isaiah won the first one. Team Barry would then go on to go against Team Payton. Team Rick Barry would win the second game, and then Team Isaiah versus Team Barry with the last game having a set score of 25. Team Barry would end up on top with, I believe, the MVP of the game was Cade Cunningham, that participated in this year's draft. The rookie had an outstanding game on Team Barry. You had Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons, a G League guard. And Dyson Daniels had Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Isaac Okoro from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Alperen Sengun from the Houston Rockets, Jashawn Tate from the Houston Rockets, and Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic. And it was a great game. I know people was excited to see LaMelo Ball, who ended up on Gary Payton's team of all people, right? Gary Payton was out there having fun with the refs. I thought he was going to try to do like Stephen A. and become one of the only coaches to get a tech in an all-star setting. The celebrity game was okay, but I remember the days where he used to have real celebrities participate in these games. Machine Gun Kelly might have been your biggest celebrity. I mean, you had like my boy Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns, who actually showed his athleticism for a big guy. That dude got some skill, and he was out there dunking the ball, catching alley oops. I mean, it was amazing to see. But I miss the days when you used to see actual celebrities in the game, like the Kevin Harts, the Justin Timberlakes, the J Coles. Nowadays it's a bunch of YouTubers, Bollywood people. No offense to Bollywood, but I don't know anything about Bollywood. Uh, you know, Influencers. To me, it wasn't real celebrity, so I wasn't real hyped about that game. However, Team Durant versus Team LeBron capped us off for Sunday evening. Watching that All-Star game was amazing. And we're gonna talk about that in a second. First, we got to talk about the dunk contest, or like I like to call it, the slump contest, because everybody was slumped over and sleep watching this contest. I mean, you had Obi Toppin, you had Cole Anthony, my guy from Houston. Let me go to this real quick. Let me tell you who was in this dunk contest. It was a sleeper. I'll definitely tell you that much. Let me tell you the participants real quick. Yeah, you had Obi Toppin, you had Juan Toscano Anderson, you had Cole Anthony from the Orlando Magic, and then you had my boy Jalen Green from the Houston Rockets. And I actually had Jalen Green winning this game. If you guys have ever seen Jalen Green, you know that this guy's athleticism is out. I was like off the charts. I've seen some in-game dunks from this dude. He's amazing. I actually rock with Jalen Green. But Obi Toppin ended up defending his crown. I think the problem was a lot of these guys, you saw the creativity there. They just wasn't able to connect on their dunks. And, of course, the whole purpose of the dunk contest, we want to see some spectacular dunks. We want to see some things we've never seen before, and that just didn't happen in that game. Not to mention the dunks that Obi Toppin did complete. They were great dunks, just not impactful. They wasn't forceful. He didn't dunk it with authority. He didn't look like he was angry at the rim. I recall seeing that matchup with Vince Carter and T-Mac and Steve Frank. I mean, some of those dunks, those were vicious dunks. I mean, remember when Jason Richardson was in the dunk contest, or how Dominique Wilkins, even though he was doing one-hand windmills, two-hand windmills, the forcefulness and the way he dunked the ball, or the Sean Kemps of the world. You just didn't get that from this dunk contest. Stephen A. Smith called it the worst dunk contest ever. I would probably have to agree with that. It was bad. It was a stinker for sure. However, congratulations to Obi Toppin on defending his crown. At least the New York Knicks won something. Free Derrick Rose, by the way. And shout out to Karl Anthony Towns for winning the 3-point contest. I think he became the first center to ever win a 3-point competition. The big man showing that he has range, and he put his stake down and said he's the best shooting big man ever. I'm pretty sure Dirk, Jokic, Embiid, they'll probably have something to say about that, but come prove them wrong. Come prove them wrong. Right now, Karl Anthony Towns, your reigning 3-point champion. And then we get to Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reason I got this jersey on. That's the reason I got this hat on. Let me move this mic out the way. Because you can see 30 for 30. My boy Steph caught the Holy Ghost, but we're going to get right into it, man. Team LeBron versus Team Durant. I've already told you the teams. It was a great game. LeBron's team, as you know, in the All-Star format, you play for 12 minutes. Whatever your score is after the first quarter, whoever has the most points wins that quarter, and then whatever charity that team captain represents gets a cash prize. So LeBron's team won the first quarter 47-45. Durant's team minus Durant won the second quarter 49-46. Third quarter, they tied, which means both charities received, both foundations received, a cash prize. And then Team LeBron would then go on to win the fourth quarter. And we know in the fourth quarter, what they do is they accumulate whoever has the highest score. They accumulate the points in those three total quarters, add 24 to that point total, and then that's your target score and what you want to get to, which it became 163. So Team LeBron got to 163 first. It was a very tight game. Final score being 163 to 160. Clearly, there wasn't that much defense played in this game. But just to see, the All-Stars come out and put on shows for people. I mean, you look at Joel Embiid for Team Durant. Had a great game, 14 to 20 from the field, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. Gave you 10 rebounds, 4 assists. This isn't an all-star game, ladies and gentlemen. Also, you look for Team Durant, Devin Booker stepping up big, 9 of 18 from the field. He was 2 of 9 from the three-point line, but he's not known for his three-point shot. Gave you 5 rebounds, gave you 2 assists, and 4 steals. This isn't an all-star game. But they was not the stars of that evening. We go to Team LeBron, and you can just tell by this team. He has some dogs on this team. I mean, you look at Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, 15 to 21 from the field, gave you 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. I mean, this isn't an all-star game, ladies and gentlemen. And even LeBron, 11 to 24 from the field. He was 2-11 from the three-point line, but gave you 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, including the game-winning shot. As you know, Cleveland, the All-Star game was back in his part of town in Cleveland. We know LeBron is just a kid from Akron. Hey, Akron right down the road for Cleveland, and we know how Cleveland feels about LeBron, that he finally brought a championship to that franchise, to that organization. He definitely received home field treatment. I mean, just even when they called his name and, announcing him as the starter and the team captain for Team LeBron, the roar that he got, the way that DJ I forgot the name of the DJ, but the DJ, he D Nice, DJ D Nice switched up the music for him, and it just felt like a homecoming. You can tell LeBron felt that energy from that Cleveland crowd, man, and they definitely showed him love. But the star of stars, your all-star MVP, was my boy Steph Curry, who makes it look Steph-less, because Steph Curry will put on a show. I mean, we've never seen him get this hot. The man was 17 to 30 from the field, 16 to 27 from the three-point line. That's 59.3% from the three-point line, hitting 16 threes, giving you 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Steph Curry out there blocking shots, and the man ended up with 50 points, just 2 points away from the scoring record in the All-Star game that was set by Anthony Davis back when he played in New Orleans. I mean, Steph Curry came out there. I would say, even though Anthony Davis has scored the most points in a single All-Star game, Steph Curry definitely took the most difficult shots and made them in the All-Star game. I mean, this man was pulling up almost from half court, draining threes, doing this patented turnaround before the ball even hits the bucket. I mean, you wanted to know how great a shooter Steph was? Watch this All-Star game, because the shots he was hitting were just ridiculous. It got to the point where they showed a scene in which he hit a shot from half court and he turned around before the ball even went in a bucket. And Giannis looked at that man. Giannis, we're talking about the reigning Finals MVP, looked at that man like, you can't be real. You can't be. You really have changed the game. I mean, like we say, you go to these open courts and these gyms, and you got people thinking they got range like Steph. We can relate so much to Steph because he makes it look so easy, and he does things that the normal person feel like they can do. We feel like we can shoot the ball. Maybe not on Steph's level, but he has a game that's more reasonable to copy. It's more fathomable to copy. I mean, you can't copy LeBron James' game if you're not built like the King. I mean, it was just an amazing sniper display And I think he was sending a message to everybody out there, like, oh, I got Clay back. We're gonna get Draymond back soon. This is gonna be a team that you do not want to reckon with. I mean, Steph Curry, your All-Star MVP, that boy Cole. Steph Curry made it look easy. And that wasn't the only highlight of that weekend, of that night actually. I mean, we got to see the top 75 come out. It was definitely tough not seeing Kobe there. I'm so mad he didn't get a chance to, do his Hall of Fame speech, or, get a chance to be on stage with all of these legends, with him being a legend himself. It's just so sad they cut a scene to Vanessa Bryant, who was there representing, Kobe Bryant, and you could still tell it's very hard on her, which I can imagine. You lost your husband and your daughter. God bless her and be with her and her family. In their time of trying to, continue to live on, despite the tragedy. And it was just tough. But, to see all the other legends there, to see players that I know, players that I've never personally got to watch, to get history lessons on these players, to see Michael Jordan show up when nobody thought he was, and, the ovation that he got. I'm sorry, LeBron. You are one of the GOATs. You are the GOAT of this era. But Michael Jordan showed you that he is the GOAT of all time in the NBA. The way that the Cleveland crowd you would have thought Mike came out in North Carolina, or he came out in Chicago. This was Cleveland. Do you guys not remember how he did Craig Elo? He hit one of the most famous shots in NBA history. Everybody remember Jordan jumping up in celebration as he held the ball in the air while Craig Elo flew past him, and in one fell swoop, in one motion, he was able to pump fake and get the shot off in one motion while he was still in the air. Hence the name Air Jordan. The Cleveland crowd definitely showed him love. You can tell that some of the NBA players were starstruck. That's Michael freaking Jordan. I mean, that's GOAT talk, if you catch my drift. It was just great to see all those legends out there getting their flowers. This was overall a great All-Star weekend. I believe the next one's in Utah, so I'm definitely going to be trying to make it out there to the desert. But shout out to the NBA for putting on a spectacular All-Star game. And that brings us now to my next topic, which is currently the top teams that I see in the NBA right now, because now I believe it's like 25 games left, 26 games left. We're getting into the thick of things, and this season is almost in the close. So right now we're technically in the second half of the season, and I'm going to tell you who I think is the real deal. We got to start off in the Eastern Conference. I think the Miami Heat are the real deal right now. They're sitting first. They're starting to get healthy. We know what Jimmy Butler's capable of. They showed that was a great pickup, bringing Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin over there to that team. We know about Bam Adebayo and how he gets down. Markieff Morris was also a great pickup for them. We know about Tyler Hero and my boy Duncan Robinson. They have a great team over there. And they are the real deal. It's going to be interesting to see what can happen if Victor Oladipo is able to play with this team, and what kind of production he can offer this team, because they can definitely use help in the scoring department. But like I said, right now they're tied with Chicago in first place in the Eastern Conference, and they were 6-4 in their last 10 games before the All-Star break. So this is definitely a team that you don't want to overlook. That brings me to number 2 right now in the Chicago Bulls. They're going to be getting healthy at the right time. I mean, if we look at the injuries right now in the NBA, the Chicago Bulls still missing Lonzo Ball, still missing Patrick Williams, still missing Alex Caruso. And they're going to be getting all these players back sooner rather than later. As we know, with Lonzo Ball, he's been ramping up his running lately and able to move without crutches. And with Alex Caruso, they're saying he should be cleared to resume dribbling and shooting drills quickly after this All-Star break that just passed, and they're looking to see if they can even get Patrick Williams back right before the end of the season. So that's gonna be great for the Chicago Bulls. We're gonna get our defense back on the wing with Caruso and Lonzo Ball coming back. That's gonna take a lot of pressure off of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, where you can let those two guys do what they're supposed to do, which is score. And you picked up another big man in Tristan Thompson. You cannot overlook the Bulls and the moves that they made. DeMar DeRozan able to hold it down. Despite all the injuries that's been happening, he gets his running mate back in Zach LaVine, who participated in the All-Star game. And by the way, the Bulls were clutch in the All-Star game because DeMar DeRozan hits that fadeaway in fourth quarter time. I like how the announcers say, you know what time it is. It's time to go to Debo because he is Mr. Fourth Quarter. And Zach LaVine not only getting a dunk, but also hitting a three-point shot that made the game. Next bucket wins in the All-Star game. So it was great to see my Bulls stepping up. And I am happy that this team is going to be taken or should be taken for real. Next, we have to look at the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, we know about the big trade that just went down. You lose Seth Curry. You lose Andre Drummond. You lose Ben Simmons, but you gain a James Harden. And not only gain a James Harden, looks like you gained a happy James Harden, a James Harden that's ready to come prove himself. Now, I'm still interested in how this dynamic is going to go with James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers, especially him playing with the big man Joel Embiid, who Joel Embiid is the leading scorer in the NBA, by the way, at 29.6 points this season. I'm just interested to see because we know about how James likes to play the ball, how he likes to play basketball. He's an ISO player. He likes to get his dribbles in. He's gonna maneuver and dance all around the court until he finds his opening. And we know you got to feed the big man and Joel Embiid. However, with players that dynamic, and you still was able to keep Thibault, you was able to keep Maxey, you was able to keep Tobias Harris, so you were able to keep the toughness on your team. I still think the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be a team that you don't want to see in the Eastern Conference. We look at the Milwaukee Bucks. They are the reigning defending champions in the NBA with the reigning Finals MVP on their team and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Drew Holiday looks like he's starting to pick it back up a little bit. Chris Middleton, who was an all-star, we know what he's capable of. We just need to see, what's going to happen when they get Brook Lopez back. I think one of the most underlooked trades that happened during the trade deadline was them bringing Serge Ibaka to that team. You bring in more depth to your already big roster, and you again taking pressure off the Greek Freak to have to do everything. Now you bring in a guy in Serge Ibaka who can hit the pick and pop, who can block shots, who can play defense. No, he's not the same Serge Ibaka from the past, but that's still a big body that you just won't overlook down there in that paint. You can never count out the heart of a champion, which means you cannot count out the Milwaukee Bucks. And to round it off in the East, I'm going to have to say the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets might have got the steal during the trade deadline because they were able to bring in things that they didn't have as that roster was currently configured. I mean, you lose James Harden, but you bring in a Seth Curry who can hit outside jumpers, who he might not be the shooter that Steph is, but you compare Seth to any of these shooters in the league, and he's definitely right up there as one of the most efficient three-point shooters in the game. You bring in Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond helps your interior so much. I'm talking Andre Drummond. They didn't have an interior presence before they got Drummond. Now you bring in a big guy like Drummond who's going to be able to clog up the paint, who's going to be able to give you a little defense, even though he's not known for defense, but he's going to give you rebounding. He's going to give you points down there in the paint. He's actually proven himself to be a great passing big man. And then you look at Ben Simmons now. My only question with Ben Simmons is what Ben Simmons are you going to get? Are you going to get the frail Ben Simmons that's afraid of the moment, a guy that looks like he's afraid to play Philadelphia on March 10th when they have that Brooklyn versus Philly matchup? Or are you going to get the guy that went crazy when Embiid wasn't there? The guy that put 40 points on Rudy Gobert's head along with 12 assists and 6 rebounds. I mean, are you going to get that guy? Are you going to get the Ben Simmons that was an all-star 3 years in a row? The guy that made team first all-defense for the past 2 years? A guy that was in the running for the defensive player of the year last season? Are you going to get that guy? The guy that shut down Trae Young in the Eastern Conference Finals? It depends on which Ben Simmons you're going to get. You know, KD, he's getting healthier day by day. He hasn't put a timetable on when he's returning, but hopefully it'll be soon, especially with him not there at the All-Star game. And rest in peace to your grandmother, KD. I can't imagine. My grandmother is my heart, so my thoughts and prayers are with you and the Durant family, man. You know, I hope you guys are able to grieve and get to a place where you at peace. But man, my condolences and thoughts are definitely with you, brother. And then they might be lifting this vaccine mandate in which Kyrie should be able to play more than just away games, because as is right now, I believe Brooklyn has 11 away games left and Kyrie can only play in 8 of them due to the vaccine mandate, and he still cannot play at any home games. So if that vaccine mandate is lifted and Kyrie is able to come back with a healthy KD, a right mentally Ben Simmons, a Seth Curry with an Andre Drummond, and you're getting Joe Harris back from surgery, that's going to be a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs. Say what you want. Right now, Brooklyn has to be the scariest number 8 seed that we've ever seen in the NBA. And we look out west, and to be honest with you, there's only 3 teams that I have faith in out west. I love the Phoenix Suns, of course. It's tough. They lost Chris Paul. He's going to be gone for like 6 weeks now. He had a wrist injury, I believe, and that's going to be kind of tough to overlook. I noticed when he came out for the All-Star game, he had his wrist wrapped up and he had it in like a soft cast. And I'm like, what's going on with Chris Paul? But they're saying he has an avulsion fracture of his right thumb, and he's going to be missing 6 to 8 weeks. So that's going to be a tough loss. We're going to get to see who Devin Booker really is. I know I've had this debate with my guys on ASAP in the morning where I don't think Devin Booker, so to speak, is a superstar yet, but I stand corrected. He's a superstar, just not a generational superstar. But Devin Booker gets buckets. Now I just want to see if he's able to lead this team, because my argument is before you had Chris Paul, you barely made it to the playoffs. Now you get, before you had Chris Paul, you barely put up a fight to make it in the play-in tournament, which you didn't make it, even though you went undefeated in the bubble. You add Chris Paul to this team. We're talking about a team that didn't even make the playoffs just a year ago, that now has been to the NBA Finals, and on the second year of trying this Chris Paul experiment, you are number 1 in the Western Conference, where the Golden State Warriors have been going crazy and kind of getting back to getting their groove back. Yet you've been able to stand on your morals and stand on your game, and right now you're 6.5 games away from Golden State in that first place position. As I mentioned, I like the moves that the Phoenix Suns made. I like that you bought over JaVale McGee. You bought over Landry Shamet. I think they were able to get Torrey Craig again in a trade from Indiana, giving them some picks. So it's great to see that this team has gotten bigger. They have more scoring. We've seen, the development of Markel Bridges. He's been out there acting a fool, becoming a dominant scorer for this team. And I think the Phoenix Suns are for real. I said this last year, and I'm going to say it again this year. This is not a team that you want to overlook in the playoffs. And, of course, I'm going to say the Golden State Warriors. We've seen what Steph been able to do this year. It's been nothing but miraculous, because, remember, for quite a time, they didn't have Clay in that lineup, and Draymond has been in and out of the lineup. So for the fact of this team to still win and to still be in first place, it's great to see. The Golden State Warriors right now playing some great basketball, even though they ended the season on a 2-game loser streak. This is still not a team that you want to overlook. Draymond Green is going to be coming back. James Wiseman hopefully will be coming back. Iggy will be coming back from injury. You already got Clay back from injury. And we know what Steph has been doing. At one point in time, Steph was the top candidate for MVP. And we know that Steph, as he proved in the All-Star game, he has those capabilities to go nuclear. Look out for the Golden State Warriors. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. You can't count out the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I know that Anthony Davis is hurt. He's going to be gone for about 4 to 6 weeks with that foot sprain. But with LeBron there, you cannot count out the king. We know what LeBron has been able to do in the past. We know he's a little older, and he can't take a bunch of nobodies to the finals. But as long as you have LeBron James on your team, you cannot count that team out. Enough said. Those are my teams that I feel are going to make the most impact in the second half of the season. As we look, we got basketball starting again tomorrow on Thursday. We're going to have Cleveland versus Detroit, Boston versus Brooklyn on TNT, the Bulls versus the Hawks, which I'll be tuning into, the Grizzlies versus the Timberwolves, the Suns versus the Thunder as they begin their games now without Chris Paul. The Warriors versus the Trailblazers as the second game of the doubleheader on TNT. And, of course, we're in the night with the Nuggets versus the Sacramento Kings. As we get to winding down on this show, definitely have been reading up on what's going on with Brian Flores. The biggest news from that I've heard is he refused to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, after being fired by the Dolphins. Now, according to his lawyer, if he signed that, then he was gonna get millions of dollars. According to him, by him not signing the separation agreement, which is included in the NDA, his attorney Doug Wigdor is saying that he missed out on millions of dollars. So clearly, this is not about the money. This is about the mistreatment and the inequality in hiring minority men or women for these jobs in the NFL, these front office jobs, these head coaching jobs. There should be no way that a league that's predominantly black doesn't have any representation in leadership roles in the NFL. Now, the Dolphins, of course, denies the claim, but Brian Flores' lawyer shows screenshots of the NDA that was given to him that he did not sign. And according to Brian Flores, he also has receipts on Steve Ross, which is the owner of the Miami Dolphins, approaching him and stating that he's willing to give him $100,000 for each game he dropped while he was the head coach of the Dolphins so that they can get higher draft picks. Of course, we know that he also has a lawsuit against the New York Giants, who he feels interviewed him for the coaching position when they already knew in their mind that they were going to hire the ball. And then also against the Denver Broncos, which showed discrimination in the hiring process, in which he claimed that John Elway came out into the interview drunk or with an hangover. So, of course, the league and all these teams and Steve Ross have denied all of the accusations by Brian Flores. But it looks like he's going to continue with his lawsuit. As we know, he was hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers as a senior defensive assistant and a linebackers coach. So he's not completely blackballed out of the NFL. And if he's going to be on any team that's going to protect him, it would be Pittsburgh. We know they got Mike Tomlin over there, and their owner actually loves to hire minorities, and I just think with the cachet of the Pittsburgh Steelers and what that city represents, you're not going to be able to force Brian Flores out of the NFL, at least under their watch. So I'll keep you guys up to date with that and what's going on and with that situation. With more football, Green Bay Packers QB Aaron Rodgers, he made a Instagram post which was pretty much him saying, hashtag he was feeling Monday night gratitude, in which he was simply stating that he was at the end of a 12-day cleanse, and he was in a reflective state called panchakarma, and saying that he was just in a state of gratitude, and that was the reason that he let this post go. As we know, Aaron Rodgers has been known to be a diva in the NFL. We saw the fiasco he did last offseason, in which he kept threatening retirement. He finally comes back on after Green Bay kind of falls to his demands. And then even him lying throughout the season, saying he's immunized, comes out. He never took the vaccine. He catches COVID. Then it was about his turf toe or whatever foot injury he had going on at the time. He did all that to still lose in the divisional round against the San Francisco 49ers. Another home playoff game, by the way, that he lost. And now Aaron Rodgers looks to be starting it all up again. We don't know if he's going to play for Green Bay. Technically, he's still under contract for Green Bay. He is not a free agent. I do not want that information to get misconstrued on my show. Aaron Rodgers is still under contract with the Green Bay Packers. So we got to pay attention to whatever fiasco he decides to take us through this offseason. But Rob's 2 cents will be here for it. And last but not least, my boy, Coach Juwan Howard of the Michigan Wolverines was suspended for the rest of the regular season after the post-game altercation at Wisconsin. We know that he slapped assistant coach Joe Krabinoff in the face after Sunday's game. I don't know quite what happened on the sideline. According to both coaches, Coach Juwan Howard didn't like a timeout that was called. Wisconsin was already up 15 points, and they called the timeout with about 10 or 15 seconds left on the clock. And he was mad at that. He was saying, you guys already won. What's the point of calling the timeout? According to Wisconsin's head coach, Greg Gard, he was saying, hey, I was putting in my backups, and that left them with only 4 seconds left to get the ball over half court. I didn't want to do that to my team, so calling the timeout resets the shot clock to 10 seconds, which gives my team time to get the ball over half court to not get a violation. Doesn't really matter why the timeout was called. Doesn't really matter that the timeout was called. There is no circumstance in that situation in which you were justified in putting your hands on another man. Now, according to Coach Juwan Howard, he said that the other coach grabbed him and touched, which is obvious on the camera. But I don't think the coach he hit was even the coach that grabbed him. I mean, he was just mad about the timeout situation, probably mad at the loss situation, and it could have been a various array of other things. But he decided to hit this assistant coach. Now, Juwan Howard has been suspended for 5 games, which is the remainder of the regular season. So he's gone for the rest of the regular season and fined $40,000 for hitting this assistant coach from Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin's coach, Greg Gard, was also fined $10,000 for violating the conference sportsmanship policy, but he was not suspended. And I believe 3 players were suspended as well, because once Juwan Howard hit that coach, his team was looking like, oh, we fighting now. And they decided, I guess, to jump in, and 2 players swung, and 1 player from Wisconsin swung. So those 3 players have been suspended for a game as well. It was just a complete fiasco out there. Juwan Howard hence has come out and apologized not only to the organization, not only to Wisconsin's organization, but to the coach and their family, and his family that he hit. Hopefully they're able to overlook that. I was one of the people hoping that he would not lose his job over this, especially as you see in the NFL and various other leagues. We're already fighting to get minorities in these positions. So when we get them in this position, we got to try our hardest not to lose them. And Juwan Howard, man, you already know you're a black man. You can't react like that. We got to work 10 times harder just to get to where our white counterparts get. So, you got to be able to keep that temper in check, brother. But I understand about the not touching you thing. I'm from Chicago as well. We don't like to be touched because sometimes that could lead to different situations. And maybe he had a flashback, but hopefully he can get past this, get the right counseling that he needs or whatever he needs to do to make sure that this situation doesn't happen again. And we hope to not see it because we cannot be losing our brothers in these head coaches' positions. We need to be putting more of us in there. Power to the people as we still celebrate the last few days of Black History Month. And that's my show, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for being with your boy. Not too much going on right now. As I mentioned, we had the All-Star game and giving you the little news just trickling out from the NFL. But right now, we're waiting on the second half of the NBA season to ramp up, and I'm going to be here for every bit of it. I cannot wait to see how these teams with these new acquisitions get accustomed to each other, but I would definitely be paying attention, man. Again, you guys know where you can catch me, Rob's 2 Cents. We're on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, also the Rewind Sports 60 Roku channel, and that Rewind Sports 60 app is available for iPhone and Android. You can also catch me on ASAP in the morning from 9 to 11. We're on Tiki Live. We're on YouTube. We're on Roku. Or you can stop by the ASAP Sports Network page and catch us going live. Make sure you hit that notification bell to come watch your boy talk his stuff about sports. And I ain't got nothing but love for you guys, man. Big shout out to my grandmother whose birthday is March 3rd. I think it's the 1st of March. It's either March. Yeah, it's March 1st. I'm sorry. Sorry, Grandma. It's so much on my head. But my grandmother will be turning 96, and I am so blessed to still have her in my life. So shout out to you, Grandma. I love you. I call her my Grandma Blessing because you have truly been a blessing in my life. So I love you and can't wait to talk to you for your birthday to celebrate your time with you. But we talk anyway, all day, every day. I hope you guys continue to have a great one, man. Remember what I always tell you. Set those achievable goals and make sure you get out a plan on how you're going to execute them. Once you have the plan, go out and execute, baby. That's what we about. We about action. I'm going to come to you guys as much as I can in March. I have 2 back-to-back shows coming up with my job. So we're about to get into a busy time. So I'm going to try to break away time to get to you guys. But I'm going to come to you guys as much as I can because Rob's 2 Cents, this is my baby. This episode 68. It's been such a journey, wouldn't you say? Love you guys, man. Thank you for being on this journey with me. And I hope you guys continue to be great. And you already know the slogan, baby. We gone! There's a bigger fight going on. There's a much bigger agenda than the streets. And I know sometimes it's hard to see that far in front of us. But we have to look past the illusions. Look past the delusions of grandeur. And look at the bigger picture. We need to become better versions of ourselves each and every day. Fight for what you believe in. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. We just getting started, baby. You guys know the slogan now. Hope you all have a great evening. And we go.